So I know I already talked about this one, but I really wanted to showcase it again just because of how massive and awesome it looks. And of course I have the little Pachycephalosaurus here. This one unfortunately doesn't do a very good job of standing. Kind of have to balance it on its tail, otherwise it's just gonna fall forward. But one of the flaws with this guy here, doesn't really stand too well on his own, so you have to have it leaning against something. But one of the cool parts, you can actually eat whole figures whole, just like that. So yeah, the Bull T-Rex is definitely a really cool figure. If you're a Jurassic Park fan or collector, you definitely should have this one in your collection. I mean, nowadays it sells for quite a lot of money. A boxed one is going to cost you probably like, I don't know, $300 to $500, depending on how greedy the seller is, I guess, if you want to put it that way. And then a loose one, though, you can get for around $100 or maybe even a little under $100 if you're lucky. I had to step in my garage because they're doing construction and it's pretty loud outside. You could probably hear all the jackhammers and stuff going off. But I almost forgot to mention this Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus that I have. This is one of the two that they made. Of course, they had the big electronic one, which sells for a lot of money. I think recently I saw one that was loose out of the package, and the bid was like $190 or something like that, and that wasn't even the last day of bidding, so I'm sure it sold for over $200. I can only imagine what a mint in box one sells for, but I kind of preferred this one because it reminded me of the old Kenner stuff. It was just non-posable, rubbery skin, you know, great for, well, back then, great for playing with. Nowadays, I like the skin texture. I feel like this one had a more realistic design and just overall appearance compared to the other one. The big one that everyone wants, it just didn't really, I don't know, some parts of it just didn't look right, like as far as movie accuracy goes. And this one's a little smaller. It doesn't have the electronic features, but I don't know, I kind of prefer this one a lot more. And I also forgot about this guy here. I believe it's pronounced Tapejara. It's one of those weird pterodon type flying, I would say dinosaurs, but I guess they're not technically dinosaurs. Someone out there will try to correct me on that, but I do like this one. It's pretty much just a repaint of a pterodon, but they have this extra molded crest piece and this really cool paint job. And let's see if it still has batteries. Yeah, the battery's still working it. Probably this thing's over 10 years old, so that's pretty impressive. And then it also, I think you just push down, yeah. So if you just push down on the neck, it also has like a screeching cry type of noise. But yeah, I really like this one a lot. It's sort of a different variation on the typical pterodon figure, and it's a new dinosaur. It's cool paint job, and yeah, I'm really happy with this one. All right, so now I'm gonna jump ahead to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and I'm probably just gonna review these by the category. So we'll start with they're called the Roarivores. They're basically like the mid-tier dinosaur figures. They go for like, sometimes you can find them on sale for about $11, but it's between $11 to $15 if you find them in stores. Some of the more rare ones, like right now, the Ceratosaurus and the Ankylosaurus, you got to be careful because they're not very common in stores so far. And if you want to go online to find them, you're going to find scalpers selling them for $30 when they're only worth, you know, $12, $13, $15. Luckily, I found these on Amazon. I was just on the website at the right time, and I got them for $15 each, which isn't too bad, even though Walmart sells them for a little less than that, if you can find them, that is. I moved back outside because hopefully the noise isn't as loud as before, but we're going to start off with this one. This is the Baryonyx figure. As you can tell up close, the design and mold and texture on this one, it's really cool and really lifelike. There's a couple of seams here and there, like in the neck and right here where the action feature is, but you also have this giant sound speaker on the bottom. But I mean, overall, just sitting on a shelf from a distance, it looks really nice, really realistic and accurate to the film. The only real gripe I have with this one, apart from what I just mentioned, is this first wave of the Roarvor figures. They decided to have their mouths open by default rather than closed, and you know, like you would think you push the button to open it, but it's the opposite. You push the button, I'll show you, to close it. It just doesn't really seem right to me, and I know a lot of people had the same thing to say. Alright, then we have Allosaurus here. Compared to the other one I showed earlier, the Lost World one, I really don't know which one I like more. I think I like the pose maybe in this one more, but I kind of like the color and just the overall look of the other one. And I feel like the paint job on this one could have been slightly better. It's just mostly predominantly gray with a couple, you know, specks of yellow on its legs and its head and its spine, but I just feel like it could have used something more. It just, compared to a lot of the dinosaurs, it doesn't really look all that realistic, I guess you could say. And that's the sound it makes. I mean, I still like this one, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, I just feel like there's something I'm missing about it that could have really made it a lot better. It doesn't have too hard of a time standing. Not like some of the other ones that have a lot of difficulty standing. As you can see, it stands pretty well. But yeah, I feel like this one, but it's definitely not near the top of my list as far as the new Mattel figures go. I'm probably gonna mess up the name on this one, but next we have Metriacanthosaurus. It's one of those really uncommon dinosaurs. It's never been featured in any of the films. I think it might be featured in the new Jurassic World Evolution game, but it doesn't really look like this. It doesn't have the same color scheme or anything. Yet again, this one does have an action feature and a noise. Yeah, even though this one, we've never seen it before, like in any of the films or novels or anything like that, I really do enjoy when they come out with unique dinosaurs we've never seen before, and they create toys after them. It just adds a lot more variety to the 100 T-Rexes and 1,000 Raptors we already have. You know, it's nice to get a breath of fresh air and something new and unique. And this guy's definitely unique. I mean, he kind of looks like a midget T-Rex, you could say. This one has an absolutely awful time trying to stand. The only way you can really get to stand is if you kind of have it leaning on its tail. Or I guess it's kind of like that, leaning forward like it's about to eat something on the ground. But yeah, this one, the posability isn't that great. It doesn't stand very well on its own, but overall, I kind of like it. I like the design. I like the fact that it's a unique dinosaur we've never seen before. I've never heard of prior to purchasing. And like I said, I always like it when they come out with, you know, unique dinosaurs. Next is Ceratosaurus. This one has somewhat of a history in Jurassic Park lore, you could say. It was never, actually it has been featured in one of the films. It had a very small minor part in Jurassic Park 3. If you remember when the characters were all like digging through the mound of poop, and then this dinosaur comes out of the jungle, and at first you think it's gonna eat them, but then it smells them and wanders off again and loses interest. That was actually the Ceratosaurus, which is this one right here. Apart from Jurassic Park 3, it was also in Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, if you've ever played that game. It was an old Xbox, PS2, PC game. I used to play it all the time. I love that game. I still think it's better than the recent Jurassic World Evolution game. But speaking of that game as well, the Ceratosaurus is also portrayed in that game, and it's definitely a beautiful looking game, and the Ceratosaurus in that game looks amazing. But I just feel like the game overall is missing a lot. But back on topic here, this one also has the action feature, but as you notice, unlike the Baryonyx Allosaurus and Metriacanthosaurus, this one has a closed jaw, which a lot of people have assumed is a direct result of Mattel listening to the complaints about the previous dinosaurs, because trying to display them, it would just look really weird having these open, gaping jaws, and it just looks a lot, I don't know, it just looks a lot better having the jaw closed and then, you push the button to open it. This one is a really cool figure. It's definitely a huge step up from the Ceratosaurus that Hasbro tried to make last year, which kind of resembled a kid's meal toy. It was so bad. The only real flaw though for this one, the feet are really tiny. As you just saw a minute ago, it has a hard time standing up. It falls down frequently. The legs also get loose fairly quickly. Like, I only just purchased it and I moved the leg one time and it was already super loose and floppy, and I had a hard time standing it up. But I mean, it is cool. It's always nice to have another, carnivore figure, and a unique carnivore figure that's not just, another raptor, another T-Rex. Even though I love those ones, it's always nice to have something new and fresh, and this one is definitely fresh. And then finally we have the herbivore Ankylosaurus. I believe this is one of the only Ankylosauruses ever made. There definitely wasn't one with Jurassic Park 1, The Lost World. There wasn't one with Jurassic Park 3, if my memory is correct. I think there was one with Jurassic World, but yeah, we're not going to get into that. Those figures sucked. So this really is the first Ankylosaurus we have, and I know a lot of people have wanted one for quite a long time, so it's taken a few decades to finally get one, but I mean, it's not bad. I feel like it could be slightly better. What I don't like about this one, the paint job, it's sort of inconsistent. You see you have dark green and then like mint green, and the colors are kind of bland. There's not a whole lot of detail. It's just sort of like a giant brownie pretty much with mint green on top. So that's a little disappointing, but it does have this little action feature where you press it right here towards the back. So I mean, that's cool. It's better than nothing. The head, or the articulation, it's not a whole lot. It's better than nothing, but I mean, we finally got an Ankylosaurus. It's not terrible. It just, I feel like it could have been a little bit better, but still, I'm still thankful that we at least got one. And it's always nice to have another herbivore. Okay, so now we're moving on to the second tier of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom toys. These ones retail for like 20 bucks. There's so far, I think, 3 or 4 different ones. I think there's 3. There's the Carnotaurus here. There's the Stegosaurus, which I also have, and then there's the Suchomimus, which just came out recently. I also have that one. I'll be showing it at the end. I do like these ones. I was super excited when they announced they were making another Carnotaurus, because I'm a huge Carnotaurus fan. It's probably my favorite dinosaur, or top 3. This one, it has some little specks of red on it because I used fake blood in one of the films on my channel. And it comes off, it washes right off. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. You can see it's already rubbing off a little bit. So I still need to clean it, but the cool thing about these ones, they don't make noise, but they have a really cool feature, and I'll show you right here. Just by pressing on the back, it kind of does like this forward movement / chomping action. And it just looks really natural. It's not like most toys where, you push the button and just the jaw opens. and then it closes again, and it just kind of looks unnatural. This one has like a combination. You get several different movements going on at once, and it just looks really cool, and it just looks really natural. I mean, it almost looks like it's alive in a sense. There's not a whole lot of articulation. The legs move obviously just forward, backwards, a little bit inside and out. The arms move. And if you remember earlier when I was talking about the Lost World Carnotaurus arms, they looked really strange and really exaggerated and disproportionate, or at least inaccurate, I should say. At least according to fossil records. But this one, the arms are a little bit more attuned to what we imagine a Carnotaurus looks like. It doesn't have those giant, gangly, awkward arms. But yeah, I think I do prefer this one slightly over the Lost World one, just because the stance is improved and the paint job, it's a lot more realistic looking. Whereas the other one kind of looks a little goofy, but I still like it. But overall, I think this Carnotaurus is probably the best one that we have so far. Next one up is the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom Stegosaurus. This one is in the same tier as the Carnotaurus, but of course, it's a different dinosaur. This one also has a little bit of blood on it. It's just fake blood I was using for the little film that I made. I still have to wash it off, but it comes right off. It's not permanent. I do like this one. I think it's one of the better Stegosauruses that we have. I also have the Lost World Stegosaurus, but that one, its legs don't move and its head is like stuck in one position. It does have like a lifelike feel skin, but I think I prefer this one more just because of the articulation, and you can kind of have it in a neutral pose as opposed to the other one, which I didn't show, but I can show it at the end if I remember. But yeah, for this one, instead of pushing right on its back, you push on one of its little fin spine pieces here, and then of course you get the tail action in there, which, I mean, it doesn't work fantastically, but it works decently. It looks cool and it adds another level of playability, or, you know, if you make movies like me, it allows you to get, you know, some more movement and lifelike personality out of the figure. So yeah, I do like this one. Probably my least favorite out of the you know, $20 range figures that they have currently, but I still like it. Alright, and finally we got the Suchomimus. I did manage to find this one on Amazon for 20 bucks. There's a lot of people on eBay trying to sell it for way above its retail price, so I think I just checked recently and they still have them for 20 bucks. So if you want this one, I'd recommend heading to Amazon and buying it quick before it sells out. I haven't been able to find this one in stores, so it is somewhat of a rare figure. It looks really cool. It's the first Suchomimus figure we've ever had out of all the Jurassic Park JP lines, the official Jurassic Park lines, that is. And it also has the action feature. It's very similar to the Carnotaurus, but it's a little more subdued, I guess you could say. It looks really cool. It looks really natural, imposing, but its jaw doesn't really open all that much. I mean, it does quite a bit, a decent amount, but not quite like the Carnotaurus. It's a little, I'd say the Carnotaurus does the action feature just slightly better. And the other flaw about this one, or I guess one of the only flaws about this one, it has kind of a hard time standing. It has to be a very flat surface, and it has to be in just the right pose, which is this one right here. Which, I mean, that is a good pose, but if you try to do any other pose, it's gonna fall over. But I mean, as far as the color scheme goes, I think it's fantastic. I really like it. They could have painted the nails like they did the toes, but I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, out of the three out of the 3 Fallen Kingdom figures of this category, I think it's kind of a tie between this one and the Carnotaurus because they both look really cool, and they're just both really unique figures that we either don't have any of, or like the Carnotaurus, we only have 2 other ones. So they're both really cool, and I think they're definitely among my 2 favorites as far as the Fallen Kingdom line goes. Alright, so I know this video was dragging on a little bit, so last but not least, we got the Mosasaurus figure here. This one is probably my favorite simply because it goes back to the old Kenner, like lifelike, skin, rubbery, just massive, impressive type of figure. You have the jaw that opens really wide. And let's see if I can find a figure on there. For that, you can fit a whole guy in there practically. And there's not a whole lot of articulation, but I mean, it's what you'd expect. You get the fins, you can pose them like that if you want. So I mean, it still is quite a lot of articulation considering the type of dinosaur that it is, and it's pretty much just a giant shark, if you will. But yeah, this one's easily my favorite. It's priced very reasonably. You can get it most places, including Amazon, for $30, which I mean, for a figure like this, Jurassic Park quality, it's really, really nice. It's definitely worth every penny. I have no complaints about this one. You look up close, you see just how much texture and detail it has. I feel like they really put all their effort into this one, and Mattel is definitely hitting it out of the park, especially compared to the disaster that Hasbro did a few years ago. So yeah, this one, definitely pleased with it. But yeah, that about sums it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you want more videos like this, you can see my channel. I'm making a series of Jurassic Park fan films right now, and I'm working on the next episode. I currently have like 3 on there, so if you can check that out if you want to. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.